back to Libertalia Game Supply. We're going to try a different kind of video here today. I'm going to do my best alpha investments impression, and we're going to talk about kind of goals that I have over the coming week. We got Black Friday coming up, and so we got those bonus bucks deals on TCG Player. Now for players of the games, all of them, those bonus bucks are super good for you, me, all of us, just because you have an opportunity to get a little bit something extra out of your purchases. But for sellers, also me and probably a lot of you, it's also a really good opportunity to move some of the stuff that you maybe have been having a hard time moving, or just things that you've been sitting on for a while and wanted to have an opportunity to sell them quick and not let them sit in inventory not being bought. So I'm going to talk about my personal goals, how I intend to achieve them, preparations that I had to make to try to assure that the goals were going to happen, and then what you guys can focus on if you're only interested in the buying side of this. So I received an email from TCG Players. I'm sure everyone else on their email list did. I think it might have been different if you're a seller versus just a buyer. Maybe not. But basically it's just an email from them letting you know that Black Friday bonus bucks deals are coming this week. They haven't told us when, but they are coming, so be ready for that. So for my goal, monetary wise, I'm going to try to do 1,500 plus in sales over the week. That number is slightly arbitrary. I bumped it up a little bit. It was originally like 1,000. I figured that's very, very doable, especially with some of the stuff that I'm going to try to get listed, making up a huge portion of that already. So I might as well bump that number up a little bit higher, and then maybe I'd have a little more to talk about in the review next week, Tuesday, after all this ends. So I'm going to go live with my inventory Monday at midnight, I guess Tuesday morning. The only reason I picked that was because it would then end 7 days later, the following Monday at midnight, which would hopefully be the end of all your Cyber Monday bonus bucks deals. If those deals extend, I guess I would extend the goal limit to another day or two or whatever they end up doing. But if not, which I'm hoping not, because I'm going to have a whole lot of orders to get through, then it'll end after 7 days. I'll write that up there too. So there is the goal. The secondary goal, this one I'm going to be less interested in chasing. It's just kind of, if this doesn't happen but we hit this instead, I guess I have like a consolation prize. If both happen, I'm very happy. This is 12K in total sales, so right now I'm around like 11,600 and something. The number means nothing, but chasing the number just makes it kind of a game, so I like it. And really, I was chasing the 10K for a while. Once I hit it, immediately I was like, well, now what? And so then it would just be the next 10K, just so you get that special extra designation on the TCG Player account next to your store name. So the 12K doesn't do anything. It's just another milestone for me to chase and kind of like have those little goals to meet as you go along. So that one doesn't really matter all that much, but it is there in my mind. So the strategies for how I'm going to go about selling this. So first and foremost, we need to get big items listed. And by big items, I mean things that are expensive that you maybe haven't been selling, or you've been kind of, well, I don't know if I do or don't want to. The one thing I've noticed as a seller, but also collector and player, is that if it's not something you're using right now, you're not going to miss it when you don't have it later, but you might miss having that money. So it's always going to be more valuable to you to move an item that you just have sitting. You don't know what the future price of that thing is going to look like, especially if you're talking about a meta staple. So for a recent instance, for me, I've had a prismatic Borreload Savage Dragon just sitting in a binder forever. I finally got to thinking like, I'll sell that, I'll take that. I think it was like 50 or 60 bucks. I could put that towards whatever. That covers all my shipping costs for, 2 weeks or something, whatever the case may be. And by the time I got around to listing it, it got reprinted in Battles of Legend, Crystal Chaos or whatever it is, the new one that just came out. Now it's about a $20 card. I lost 60% of what could have been on that sale, and it sucks. And you're gonna get those L's if you're gonna be buying and selling in a collectibles market like this. But We want to try to avoid that. So if there's something you've been sitting on and waiting to sell, or not sure if you wanted to sell, then you don't have immediate use for it or some type of sentimental attachment to it, get it listed, get it out of here. Next is going to be bulk pricing. And bulk pricing, for me, refers to how I strategically price things like commons and supers that aren't really worth anything. So there are a lot of cards in the game. The majority, the bulk of cards in a set or in a game are going to be cheap, like 1 penny, 5 cents, 10 cents, whatever. The problem with that is, as a seller, you get charged a fee no matter what. So I sell on TCG Player and a little bit on eBay. Soon it sounds like those are going to be the same platform anyway, so the fees will probably end up being the same. But as far as TCG Player fees go, you are going to get charged a baseline fee. I believe it's 30 cents plus a percentage on top of that. So if you sell a 1 cent card, you're going to get charged that 30-cent fee anyway. The percentage would be non-existent because it's a 1 cent card. But now you're 29 cents in the hole. They will then pay you for shipping. The base shipping cost, the TCG Player has mandated, is 99 cents, which is really good for sellers, just because you're going to get kind of screwed on a lot of those fees otherwise. We'll pull you back out of that hole. And then the actual cost of shipping a card, if we're talking, plain white envelope with a stamp in a top loader like it should be, and taped shut with a penny sleeve or a sleeve of any sort on the inside to keep the card extra safe, plus the ink in the paper, which is minuscule per order, but over time, it all adds up. That shipping fee ends up being somewhere around 70 to 75 cents, depending on where you can get all of your supplies from. So ultimately, what I'm trying to say is if you price things low to be competitive with the actual market value of the card, you are going to lose money on every sale under a certain amount. I did the math on it at one point, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something like 15 cents or 12 cents. If you listed a card under that amount, you were spending money to send somebody a card. So it didn't make you any additional money. It actually cost you a couple cents, which is whatever. If you're just chasing numbers to get your name and your sales numbers looking a little bit more impressive, it might be worth it to you to take that couple cent loss on each of those sales. I'm at a point now where I don't really need that. I'm not really chasing that as much, and so I don't want that to happen to me. So for me, bulk pricing means that I'm going to bump, if it's a 10-cent card, I'm going to list it for like 18 to 25 cents. The reason for that is it will dissuade you as a buyer from buying just the one copy of this one common from me, because you can buy it for 3 cents from somebody else that has a goal that isn't the same as mine. And I think that's fair for you to have that option and me to have the option and not, have to fall into that little hole every time I sell something like that. It's also beneficial for buyers in the grand scheme of things because there's also free shipping on everything over $5. So if you buy a card from me that's, $4.29, the shipping on that would be $1, or you can add another 71 cents of cards to your order from me. The shipping is free, so it would actually be cheaper for you to buy more stuff from me. And if I make these commons 20 cents a piece, maybe you do or don't need 1 or 2 of them, whatever. You're going to buy a couple extra commons just to get that free shipping, which I am happy to give to you. It's not going to be so many that it can no longer all go in that envelope to keep the shipping costs down. I get to sell a couple extra bulk cards that I wouldn't have been able to sell otherwise or wouldn't have made a profit on otherwise, and you get to pay for not shipping. So good for everyone. I think it's a pretty fair exchange, and that's just the way I like doing it. And then third, we're going to list with photos on any of this stuff here, especially if it's unique. If it's foreign, you don't really have a choice. You have to list with photos, at least on Yu-Gi-Oh! I think Magic has the option to just list it as a Chinese version or whatever, but I don't really do a whole lot with Magic. And Pokemon as well, you need to list with photos if it's something outside of the standard, card from this set in this edition, that is an option. The other reason for this is, and this is a really common complaint if you spend any time on like Reddit or Facebook groups or whatever where people discuss this stuff, they will prefer buying bigger cards from eBay over TCG Player because they want to see what the card they looks like that they're going to be getting beforehand. So not listing with a photo means they'll just go find one with a photo that's of a similar price. Whether or not yours is in a really good condition or it's a very honest listing doesn't matter. If people are going to spend $100 or $200 on a card, they want to see it. This could be an advantage for you on TCG Player because you have that bonus bucks promo attracting people to come to the site. You've got your big items listed that you're trying to get moved, and you've got a photo of your big items. People will be more inclined to buy from you even if you're $10 more or $15 more than the next best price down because you have a picture of yours and they don't. And we want to be able to take advantage of that opportunity because it is here. And so that's another big one. It's tedious, it's time consuming. I wouldn't do it with every little card you got, but for the big expensive stuff, the stuff where condition might be a little bit more questionable, so if it's not for sure near mint, and it might have a thing or two about it that you don't know about, you're better off just listing it with the picture at the price you want, in the condition you think it is, and then they can look at the picture and decide if they agree with you and if they're willing to buy it for that price. So preparations we'll breeze through pretty quick because these are pretty easy here. So number one, I wanted to increase my listed items. So at any given time, I'm usually carrying about 13 to 14,000 cards in inventory on my TCG Player account. I've boosted that to 15K more or less. So I'm recording this on Sunday night with the plan, as I stated before, to go live Monday at midnight. So I got another day or so to keep listing stuff. And so I just wanted to break that 15K barrier. I'll make one more pass through all my binders, all my bulk, all my everything that I maybe haven't looked at or had some second thoughts about. Pull everything that I want to get listed and I'll get it all listed up. But having more stuff for sale means you can sell more stuff, right? And that's kind of the goal. If it's just sitting in a box on the floor, I'm pointing down there because that's where all the stuff that isn't listed is sitting in a box on the floor. It's not really worth anything yet, so you got to do the work, sort the cards, and get it all listed so you can make those sales. Number 2, or B. Oh my God, I think I might have spelled envelopes wrong. That one was a mess. I'm not worried about it. Pre-stamping all of my envelopes. So I don't get them printed. I have a stamp with my address. They got the window so I can fold up the order form and just throw it in the envelope and ship it, and their address is already on it the way that they typed it up initially. And then stamps, actual stamps for shipping the stuff, all goes on the envelope ahead of time. I don't normally do it this way. I can just kind of make the envelopes as the orders come in because order volume tends to be not that high, maybe like 100 orders a week or so, depending on how invested I am in having the store open at all hours at that point in time or whatever. I just do it on the side for fun. So sometimes it's really low, sometimes it's a little bit more high. Over this week, I expect it to be very high. So as I mentioned here, we're looking at hopefully like 400 sales, something in that range. I would guess at least 200 will be likely over the course of the whole 7 days. And so rather than bogging down my turnaround time on orders, making up envelopes, I have that done in advance so I can get stuff enveloped and shipped out fast so people aren't waiting forever for their orders. And then last is shipping materials, kind of goes in line with the envelopes. And this just refers to stuff like top loaders, sleeves, all that kind of stuff that I mentioned a couple times previously. So I just want to make sure I have enough of that on hand for the same reason I pre-made the envelopes. If I get enough orders in and then I run out of something, I have to order that something that's missing before I can continue shipping stuff out, which is usually like a 2-day delay. If you're ordering top loaders from like Amazon, you can get them pretty quick and not terribly expensive, which I'll have to do sometimes just because got to get them fast, got to get the stuff shipped out. But that 2-day delay can be the difference maker for your customer and feeling like they really got excellent customer service and they got their stuff very quickly, or feeling like, everything else I ordered on Black Friday already came, why hasn't yours? So I want to avoid those types of issues. Now, last but not least here, this will be the stuff that's probably most beneficial to you if you're a buyer, not just a seller or not a seller at all. But those Black Friday deals are coming. I'll just make that note. We don't know when they will be dropped. I assume we'll find out in the next couple of days what exactly the bonus is and the time frames that they happen. They may, I cannot recall exactly if last year they did it this way, but I feel like they have done it in the past where they don't tell you in advance that it's happening at this time. It just is an email that goes out like, hey, it's live right now. Hopefully that's not what they do, because you guys want to be ready to buy stuff. And that's actually my second point here. We want to be ready to make our purchases. So if you've been eyeing up something big, so similar to me eyeing up selling something big, maybe you've been eyeing up buying something big, you want to be ready to buy that right away. Because of the huge influx in sales, it tends to just drive prices up high, especially if that bonus bucks deal is big, like 10 or 15% bonus bucks back. People will be way more inclined to spend, if it's a $200 card and they're getting 15% back or whatever it may be, that's $30 off the card more or less. So they'll be willing to spend, $210, $220 on that card because they're actually spending $190 on a $200 card if you include that bonus buck value. And so the price, the natural market price of things on TCG Player is just going to escalate high. And the bigger ticket an item is, the higher it will be likely to escalate, just because of that percentage will make up a huge dollar amount. Like a $1,000 card can get you, I believe there's usually a limit, like maybe $50 in bonus bucks limit, or maybe it's 500 or something, I can't recall, on any one given order. So keep that in mind. But if you spend $1,000 on stuff, you could potentially be getting $100 back or $150 back in bonus bucks, and that's just going to escalate those prices. So we want to be ready for that. And then the third one here, this one's probably obvious if you've been around the TCG market for a while, but there will be likely a Cyber Monday bonus bucks promo as well, and usually it matches. So everybody is going to spend all their money on Friday, market's going to go wild, things are going to shoot through the roof, and then it'll end over the weekend. Hopefully prices will start to settle back down. However, sellers are probably aware of this and will be holding a little bit of inventory or keeping prices adjusted for this, because on Monday we will likely get a similar promo to what we're getting for Black Friday, and the market is going to go nuts again. This second wave usually isn't as good from a seller's perspective in previous years, but it is something to keep in mind, where if you miss out on something that you were hoping to buy, or the price just got too high, keep an eye on whatever that item is. Keep checking back for listings, have it in that cart ready to go, and then if that Cyber Monday comes through, you grab it right away. Hopefully you get that second chance. So this was kind of my first attempt at more of a discussion-based video. I'm going to keep doing the deck profiles. It's fun to do. I've been getting a lot of really interesting advice and comments from you guys on that last one in particular, but on all of them. I really like getting comments and getting to talk to you guys, and just going through and seeing what everybody else has to say about it. So if you like this, let me know in the comments. Add to the discussion whatever you think, what your plans are. Are you buying? Are you selling? What are you hoping to buy or sell? Let me know. I'm actually very interested in hearing about all that stuff from you guys. But I want to thank you guys again for coming and hanging out with me here at Libertalia Game Supply once again. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Good luck with all your buying and selling over the next week, and I'll see you guys on Friday for another deck profile. Have a good one.